Good morning, sports fans, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, AM 1460, and online worldwide at WRUL.com. Cole Carter with you alongside Chris Myers, Haley Winkleman across the hall getting us on the air. The Saturday Morning Sports Show is brought to you by Little Giant Grocery Outlet, Rice Motor Company, Hale Body Shop, Carmi Lumber Company, Pro Rehab, People's National Bank, Taylor Eye Care, Bush & Associates CPAs, Wabash General Hospital, Higginson Farms, Hamilton Memorial Hospital, Rush Appliance, Citizens National Bank, Nancy J. Winter CPA, Cherry Street Automotive, Southern Illinois Trading and Supply, First Bank, Expressway Ford, Slays Carpet, Farrell Hospital, Country Financial Representative Kyle Hosick, Wabash Christian Village, Invenergy, and Jansen Auto Group. Well, it was a heartbreaking loss last night for the Carmi White County Bulldogs at home against the Sesser-Valier Red Devils. 32-30 was the final. And Chris, we kind of talked about it after the game last night. It was one of those contests that you hated somebody had to lose, and you hate it more when your team has to lose.
It was just, if you love football, and I use this a lot, if you're a fan of football, then that was a game that you just absolutely had to love. You love it from the standpoint, it was just a heavyweight fight. It was just like two big heavyweight fighters just slugging it out to the last round, till the very end of the bell. And like you said, Cole, it was just unfortunate someone had to lose. It was just heartbreaking that it was the Bulldogs, because you knew without a shadow of a doubt they left their heart and soul on the field. It just came down to Sesser just made a couple more plays than we did there at the very end. But it wasn't because of a lack of effort of this Bulldog football team. They just absolutely laid every ounce that they had in their bodies on that field. And, it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but we can still hold our heads high because, I said last night, if we play that type of football, if we give that kind of effort every week going on from this point forward, and there's no doubt in my mind we can win every game we play to close out this season.
I think going into the game last night, there was a certain sense of uncertainty because last time we saw Carmi, it was a 10-point win over Hamilton County. I think we all kind of knew the Bulldogs didn't play their best game. You get a week off. You play a Sesser team that just beat Fairfield. They're probably look like the best team in the conference and didn't really know what to expect. But I thought out the gate, especially there in the first half, Carmi played very well. The offensive line did a great job. The defensive line was creating pressure. And I think given the circumstances, you had to be very, very pleased with how Carmi played for the entire game.
Well, number one, as we talked about, against Hamilton County, we did not play our best football. And all football teams have nights like that. There are going to be some nights where everything's not clicking on all cylinders. The important thing is, the Bulldogs got that win behind them, but how do you improve from there? That was the question. There was no question that this team had to play a lot better just to be in this game. And you had to be just thoroughly enthused, with the way the Bulldogs came out and played that first quarter. They actually held Sesser scoreless that first quarter. And, to me, the fact that they responded, they had the week layoff. We never had that before. Are they going to be jet lagged, so to speak, or, how are they going to play? And you had to be more than pleased, if you're Kurt Simon, of how the team elevated its game, so to speak. They were really showed dramatic improvement, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and that was the important thing. They knew they had to play better, and they did. They rose to the occasion. They were right there, and they were ready to go from the get-go. And another factor that we just touched on briefly, Cole, last night is, our starting center, Connor Buchanan, was out, and so you had to not only account for that, you had to do some shuffling on your offensive line. So you move Austin Owen, your normal right tackle, who, as far as I know, has never played center, and you have to adjust your offense. He has to get used to snapping the ball and out the shotgun, and then you put in a sophomore, Dakota Southard, at right tackle, a big, strong kid, 6'2", 235-pounder, but his very first varsity game is against more than likely the best team in the conference. You go from playing freshman, sophomore ball to, okay, here we go. You're in against the best team in the league, more or less, on paper at least. And I thought they played very, very, very well up front. The Bulldog offensive line was superb the whole night. The defensive line, same thing, and I think that was the key to what kept that game so close and could have gone either way. It's just the way we played up front.
Scoring plays from last night started off in the first quarter. Caleb Siebers, a 79-yard touchdown run with a 2-point conversion, failed with 2:26 to go there in the first quarter. Then Sesser found the end zone on a 24-yard pass from Colt Packer to Wyatt Locks. They would also convert the 2-point play to take an 8-6 lead with 6:34 to go there in the second quarter. Carmi did answer, though, on their next drive. Caleb Siebers with a 34-yard touchdown run. Siebers also caught the 2-point conversion from Driscoll. That put the Bulldogs up 14-8 at that point. And right before the end of the half, a Desmond Malone 26-yard touchdown run gave Sesser a 16-14 lead at intermission. Then in the third quarter, the Bulldogs' passing game worked a little bit as they found Cade Allen was open to the end zone on a pass from Driscoll for 18 yards to put the Bulldogs back in front. At that point, Siebers did run in the 2-point conversion. Bulldogs led 22-16, but Sesser able to answer right back. Caden Hicks, a 12-yard screen pass, a touchdown pass from Packer. Packer ran in the 2-point play. Sesser able to jump out in front there, 24-22 with 6:40 left to go. Then Siebers found the end zone from 7 yards out to put the Bulldogs in front 30-24 with 2.5 to play. Sesser-Valier ended the game, though, with a touchdown run of Packer from 8 yards out. He also ran in the game-winning 2-point play with 1:11 left to go. And Chris, you made the point before we went on air. A 2-point conversion was the difference. Carmi missed one. That was their first one. Sesser-Valier had all their 2-point plays, and that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, it was just basically one of these games where you had to, every opportunity you had to take advantage of. You couldn't turn the ball over. You couldn't play sloppy, and for the most part, the Bulldogs did that. But, yeah, it came down to one 2-point conversion, which potentially sends that game to overtime. And the way that both teams were playing offensively by that point, who knows? We could have gone into 10 overtimes maybe. So,
looking at some stats from last night, team stats, that is. In the first down department, Sesser-Valier had 18, Carmi with 15. In the rushing department, Sesser, 28 attempts for 154 yards. The Bulldogs, 47 rushes, 328 yards. Passing-wise, Sesser, their quarterback Packer was 11 for 15. Did have an interception, though, with 178 passing yards. Driscoll was 2 for 8 for 26 yards and 1 pick. Carmi outgained Sesser 354 to 332. Neither team fumbled. Both quarterbacks had 1 interception. Carmi was 6 for 12 on third down. Sesser 3 for 6. Sesser never went for it on fourth down. Carmi was 1 for 3. Penalty-wise, I thought Carmi cleaned things up. They did have 5 penalties against them. One of them was arguably the worst pass interference call I think I've seen in a while. They did call back the really bad pass interference.
Yeah.
They got Vickers for one there in the first half, which I don't agree with. But 5 penalties for Carmi, 50 yards. Sesser had 2 penalties for a little over 11 yards. Time of possession, Carmi had it for 7 more minutes, but you kind of expect that with the type of offense they run. But, Chris, a point for that time of possession, when Carmi was going in to score there, that touchdown with 2:33 left to play, we were talking before we went on air, it's tough, either in high school, college, NFL, when you need to score, but you don't want to leave too much time. I call it the Tom Brady rule.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave too much time. That's always tough, because like you said, you don't want to tell a kid to, okay, don't score here. We got to kill some more clock.
Right.
But then again, you have to score. It's a two-edged sword. I think more times than not, you take the score and trust your defense.
You have to. I mean, because there's no guarantee you are going to get in the end zone, and you can't tell a kid, hey, just try to get 3 yards here. I mean, there is just no way to do that in football. Basketball is sport. Hey, if you want to hold the ball, hey, we'll just pass it for 2-3 minutes, make them foul us if we got a lead, and hold on to the lead. In football, we were down a score, and you can't just say, all right, just get me 3 or 4, we'll pause, because there's no guarantee, again, you get in the end zone. So, yes, you have to take the points. You have score when you can, and you're right, Cole, you got to trust your defense to do the job, and it was just one of those things. It was just a gutty drive, because the thing is, at one point, we were 4th and 5 on about our 45, or right at midfield, the 50-yard line.
On the last drive.
And if we don't get that, really the ball game would have been over at that point. So, I mean, that was the guttiest play call, got in that stack eye and ran that power off tackle and got more than the 5 yards we needed to keep that drive alive. And I when that happened, you just knew, okay, I had in my gut, we're going to go down and score, because the kids were believing at that point. and with 2:33 left, it's just one of those things. The type of offense Sesser runs, you can see it on the stat sheet. 178 yards passing. They threw the ball 15 times. That's what they're geared towards. And when you are a spread team, they had great field position, had the ball at their 40, 45, almost midfield to start, but 2:33 left, 2 timeouts, and you're a spread team, and you got, arguably the best, without question, the best quarterback in the conference, one of the best players in Southern Illinois, and a backfield mate with him that was just tearing it up on the ground. It was tough, and credit the Bulldog defense. They were close a couple times. I thought they had Packer for a sack a couple times, but he just made the plays when they needed to make them. And it wasn't for scheme, for effort. It's just sometimes great players make great plays, and they did. It's just the bottom line, And we're talking about the stats too, Cole. I mean, we rushed for 328 yards.
Yeah.
Anytime you can do that against a team like that's incredible. I mean, we actually outgained them in offense, time of possession, third down conversion. I mean, you look at these stats, and you're thinking you can win games that way, and it's absolutely, but you look at how they run things. They're an air team, and when you're spread, you're through the air, you score quicker. You're more of a quick strike, as you alluded to, whereas Carmi is more kind of methodical drives, grinding it out. And like I said, you just got to tip your cap to Sesser at the end of the day for just executing there at the end. But man, it was an incredible football game. And if you're a Carmi Bulldog fan this town, I mean, you have to be so proud of this football team, regardless.
Stat-wise, last night for the Bulldogs, Caleb Siebers, 24 carries, 239 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Noah Pollard, 15 carries for 96 yards. Andrew Dotson, 4 carries for 12 yards. For Sesser-Valier, Des Malone, he had 15 carries with 112 yards and a score. Colt Packer, 10 carries for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. Passing-wise, Packer was 11 for 15, 1 interception, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Driscoll, 2 for 8, 1 interception, 26-yard passing, and 1 touchdown. For the Bulldogs receiving-wise, Cade Allen caught 1 pass for an 18-yard touchdown. Caleb Siebers had 1 catch for 8 yards. Here is what head coach Kurt Simon had to say last night after the Bulldogs fell to Sesser-Valier 32-30. Coach, no other way to put that except for a heartbreaker. I mean, you guys played your tails off, and Sesser, that last play there at the end, won the game.
That was a good football game. That was a good high school football game, and I thought both teams played hard, played well, did what they had to do. They just made a few more plays than we did. I mean, really, when you get right down to it, their 2 playmakers having the ball in their hands at the end of the game is going to pose a problem because they've been making plays all night. And, I give credit where credit's due. It's a good football team, but I really thought our kids grew up tonight. I mean, the last time we were at home against McLeansboro didn't look anything like that. That's a lot better team, and I think our kids did a really good job tonight. We just came up short.
You talked about it a couple weeks ago. You had said, we have to get much better offensively. And there's no question tonight you did that. Your offense grew up in a lot of ways, eliminated the turnovers, had a couple of miscues there, but overall, the way your offense battled, you had to be pleased just from that aspect of the football, how much you improved tonight offensively.
I mean, we did a really nice job up front tonight. Again, I thought we were, we were just as physical or more physical than them up front. Of course, Caleb ran the ball. What a great night he had again. And the credit goes to the kids. I mean, we had 2 weeks. We haven't had a bye week before. So the whole time through that 14 days, you're talking about, hey, we're going to get better, we're going to get worse, going to stay the same where we're at. And the kids worked really hard, and I thought they came out tonight and played. They played well. We played better than we did the first 2 weeks. So, we just have to build off of this. And I know it's hard to walk off a field after, a game like that and lose it down there in the last of the fourth quarter. But, you just got to regroup tomorrow and watch film and figure out a way to beat Fairfield next week.
Yeah. We were talking up here in the booth, the thing about it, and I don't think folks at home realize the preparation with a team like Sesser. I mean, they must have at least 10 to 15 types of formations they come out in. And then you throw a kid like Packer. I mean, I've told Cole, Packer is like 3 players in one.
He has the body of a fullback. He has the speed of a receiver and an arm of a great quarterback. And you throw a kid like Malone back there with him.
Yeah.
Just tell the folks at home, I mean, just how difficult is it preparing for a team like that? I mean, it's got to be just a nightmare just to prepare.
It's all about players.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about players. When you have a dynamic quarterback that's a dual threat guy, you know, you normally don't account, as a defensive guy, you don't account for the quarterback as a runner, you know, and that kid can just make plays. There was a lot of times we had him bottled up, and he came out of it or made a throw out of it, and yeah, you know, number 2, Dez Malone. He some of the catches he made were outstanding catches, just big plays in big times of the game, which you always, you know, expect or really need your big players to make them, and they made the plays tonight, and that's really what it came down to. But again, I you know, I told the kids they played their hearts out tonight, and it showed a lot about their character. And you know, we still have half the season yet to play, and some. So we got to take this one for what it is. And you know, we lost a 2-point game at the end of the game. You know, every time we get into games, we say we want to be there in the fourth quarter to have a position or in a position to win it. And we were there. We just came up a little short. And but my hats are off to Sesser. I think they got a really good football team. I've watched, you know, 3 weeks of film and then saw him live. He's probably your MVP, the quarterback, you know. And they got a good group. And there's a lot of seniors out there. I mean, they're a senior-dominated team, and they've played for a long time. And this is, you know, they really played a good game tonight. But I was really proud of the way our kids played as well.
In any conference game, you know it's going to be one up front on both sides of the football, and especially against Sesser with that 4-4, they play 8-9 guys in the box at all time. I thought the offensive line did a great job given that circumstance, especially running inside. You know, I thought you guys were going to have to go a lot of outside tonight, but Siebers, especially up the middle, and then on defense, you guys were getting every single time they passed it. He had 3 or 4 maroon jerseys right there. I just thought the offensive and defensive line did a great job tonight.
They really did. We played a really good game up front tonight, and again, we'll sound like a broken record, but they just had a couple players that just made a few more plays than we did. Yeah. But collectively, as a whole, our group, you can't be more proud of the way they fought throughout the game. And, you know, it's like I told them, we've got a loss now. Okay, that doesn't mean that the conference championship is out of reach or anything like that. You got to get better every week and put yourself in a position to maybe be a one-loss team, and maybe they'll drop one. Maybe they'll drop one to somebody, and you continue to get better. That's all you can do right now.
Yeah. Lastly, for me, Coach, I'll just echo your sentiments. We talked up here in the booth again before you came. That Carmi team tonight will compete with anybody. The effort they brought. If you bring that week in, week out for the rest of the year, I have no doubt in my mind, you know, you have a legitimate shot to win the rest of your games, make a good postseason run. But every kid in that locker room, you know, I know they left it all on the field. You know, from watching the game, broadcasting, these fans know that team poured their heart and soul out tonight, and they have nothing to hang their heads about. You just pick yourself up and get ready for a good opponent in Fairfield.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
It was a great football game.
It was.
A great football game.
Great job, Coach.
Just came up short.
Yeah.
So, of course, with last thing, rivalry week next week, you guys go to Fairfield. Same thing,
one.
different here. You know what to expect for them. They did lose tonight to JC. They're now 1-3, but when you play them, you throw records out the window.
Without a doubt. And, you know, I mean, last year was the first time we beat them in 10 years, and same thing with Sesser or whatever. And you know Fairfield's going, and Fairfield's back's against the wall. They have to beat one of us.
Yeah.
You know, their last 4 games look like they're probably going to win. So now all of a sudden that makes our game even more important. So we were not expecting anything less than their very best, you know, when we go up there next week. And like you said, most of the time you throw that stuff out anyway because of the rivalry that we have with one another. So we'll have to gear up and be ready to go, without a doubt. It'll be a barn burner, probably very similar.
Yep. All right. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you,
All right,
Coach.
thank you.
So again, the Bulldogs fall last night to Sesser-Valier. 32-30 was the final score. Bulldogs fall to 3-1. Sesser stays unbeaten and tied at the top of the conference at a 4-0 record. Other scores last night from around the area. Flora scores a touchdown in the final play of the game to defeat El Dorado 18-14. Johnson City over Fairfield 36-14. Hamilton County will play Edwards County later on today. In the Little Illini Conference, Casey Westfield shuts out Robinson 41-0. Lawrenceville over Paris 2013. Marshall over Alney 12-6. Mount Carmel over Newton 49-7. In the River to River, it was DuQuoin over Benton 21-15. Nashville over AJ 22-14. West Frankfort over Pinckneyville 24-13. Carterville shuts out Heron 49-0. Murfreesboro shuts out Massac 59-0. There was a couple non-conference games. CZR picked up Chester for their Vienna Week game. They fall to Chester 55-24, and Harrisburg shuts out Alton Marquette 47-0. Marion defeats Christian County, Kentucky 55-38. Mount Vernon over Collinsville 33-24. We'll go ahead and take our first break of the morning. When we come back, we'll introduce our special guest for the day. It's a Saturday morning sports show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY AM 1460. Welcome back to the Saturday morning sports show on 97.3 WRUL. Cole Carter and Chris Myers with you. Hayden Winkleman across the hallway getting us on the air. And introduce our special guest for the morning, Carmi-White County volleyball head coach, Mr. Chris Lucas. Thanks for stopping by this morning, Coach.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on this morning, guys.
So you walked in and you look pretty tired. I can tell you've had a busy couple of weeks, but like we mentioned, playing a lot of games is a lot more fun when you're winning a lot of games. Man, what a start you guys have had. 14-1 now on the season. Last week you won the Benton Classic Championship, took home second place of the NCOE tournament. Man, what a start you guys have had.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it's an exciting time for Carmi volleyball right now. And we've been trying to build something for the last 4 or 5 years here, and through our camps and through our trying to get kids involved at a young age. And we knew that we had a special group with these kids that we have right now, and they've bought in, and we have gotten off to a 14-1 start, and the kids love the game. You can see it if you come out and watch us. You can see it on their faces. The most important thing is that they cheer for each other. They each play their role, and they do it well, and they know exactly what it takes to be a good team. There's no individual I in this team. I mean, everybody plays for each other, and it's just really exciting right now.
I was going to say, Coach, you're off to a 14-1 start. I mean, I'm not the records guru, but I would probably be safe in saying this may be the best start of any volleyball team, maybe in school history. So, and it's a thing with volleyball and Carmi. The thing is, in junior high, this season's so short. Some other schools that have longer seasons, the thing. So it's kind of a little bit of a disadvantage, as far as the time you have. Mm-hmm. So what you've been able to do with this great group of kids you have, putting together a season like this, I mean, I just feel the energy in the gym, alone. The student section, the fans, you can just feel it. What does it mean not only to you but to these kids just to be where this program is right now? And to me, it's just a beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. We have talked over the last several years about we're trying to build something here, and the community has bought in, the students have bought in, and if you haven't come to a game, you need to come out and watch, because volleyball is an exciting sport to watch. And the girls have talked so much this year to me about how the energy level in the gym has made them play better. I know that may sound weird, but it's true. I mean, volleyball is a game of momentum. It's a game of enthusiasm, and the community support has been unreal this year. The Maroon Platoon, we've got the fat heads going in the stands. We've got, they are rocking from the first point till the match is over. And, it's an exciting time right now. And we're trying, like I said, we're trying to build some stuff with our younger kids. We have had over 100 kids at camp the last 2 years, and they're all Carmi kids. We haven't had one out of, so when you can have 100 kids all from this small community at camp, you can tell that you got something going. And I take no credit. We've got the best players right now. We are loaded with talent right now, and I've got 12 or 13 kids that I feel comfortable putting into any varsity match, and that is unheard of. And so, 14-1 is just a beginning. We know we've got a lot of season left, and we still have room for improvement. We've got some things we need to do better at, but this is an awesome group of kids to coach, and I've had a blast so far doing it.
When you're talking about that talent, and it really goes freshman through senior. I mean, you've got a great group of youngsters that were freshmen now and now sophomores. Caroline Simmons, first one, I think, if she was an all-conference player last year, but some sophomores are now juniors, and I know you get Mara Serafini back this year, but really from top, from bottom, I mean, this is probably the most talented team you've had. I would say that just as far as the wide variety of talent that you've got, and you mentioned 12 to 13 girls that you can play each game.
Yeah, we are blessed right now with talent, and we do only have one senior on the roster, but she is a vital part of our team. I mean, she has come back and played her senior year, and she starts outside for us, and just the sweetest, most quiet kid ever. Just a phenomenal athlete, 3-sport athlete, and does all 3 of them well. And she's just a calming presence on the floor. Whenever we get down a little bit or whatever, I mean, you can count on Mara to say something silly or just she just calms everybody down, and that's what you need out of a senior leader. She's not someone who's going to do the rah-rah stuff all the time, but she plays a lot like my daughter did, and she reminds me of my daughter when she was playing. Just kind of, you never knew if they were winning or losing. She just went out and takes care of business. That's what Mara does, and so. But yeah, we are from top to bottom. We have got a lot of talent right now, and these girls that are juniors now, several of them started as freshmen, and they, even though we're still considered a young team, we have tons of experience on the floor. And like I said, the best part is that somebody's not playing well, I've got 2 or 3 kids I can look at it on the bench and say, they need to get their head screwed on a little bit, so to speak, and so go, get them for a few points and put them right back in. And these kids don't get their heads down. We've been behind in sets this year, but Edwards County, we were down 18-9 in the first set at Edwards County, and rolled off like 10 straight. And so that's something I told Jason Craig on the radio the other day, is that I never really get worried on the floor, because I know that we've got an experienced group that wherever we're at, point-wise, we can make a comeback, and these girls have proved it so far.
How, and this is just kind of a question from me, just asking in general, club ball in recent years has just become the thing. Are you a proponent of club volleyball, and how do you think that has changed just high school volleyball?
Well, it's changed it a tremendous amount, and I am a proponent of club volleyball, because if your girls aren't playing, they're behind, because everybody else is.
Right.
And so I am a play as many sports coach as you possibly can. I mean, I want, in a small community especially, your athletes have to play. I mean, they have to play everything. And it's difficult because, club volleyball season runs right concurrent with basketball season. So it is difficult for these kids to manage. But thankfully, we've got a local club in North City, the Wild Bunch Volleyball Club, that a lot of our girls are going to play together with this year. So we've got 4, maybe 5 of our starters that will be players next year that are going to play club ball together. And so, yeah, it's a tremendous benefit. And but it's difficult to be an athlete these days, simply because you want to do everything, but you're playing 12 months a year if you're doing all 3 sports and then playing club at 1 or 2 of the seasons. There's no rest. So the only downside I see to club is overuse. I mean, we've had some, unfortunately at Edwards County, their best player tore an ACL in a club ball tournament this summer. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but a lot of times you can get some injury because these kids are playing all the time, and so you have to do it. I really think it's a good thing, but there has to be some time to rest your body as well.
Right.
And we talking about the hot start. You guys 14-1 so far in the year. In those 14 wins, I think you guys have only lost 5 sets, maybe?
3.
3 sets.
Yeah.
And all of these, you've beaten everybody by 2 sets, and some scores aren't even close. But it's one thing to win some games and be successful, but to do so in a dominant fashion is very impressive.
Yeah, we dropped a set to Hamilton County at the North City tournament, and then North City beat us in an epic 3-set match at their tournament and championship game. It was a battle, but we've told our kids that you need to win in 2 sets. I mean, there's no wear and tear on your body. It's there's so many things that factor, especially when we played 10 or 11 matches in a week. You go 3 sets in all of them, and you're worn down at the end of the at the end of the third set. And so we have stressed that, and we've been good the last 3 years, but we would always get to a point where we would get up in sets, and then we would let teams creep back in, and then we drop a set, and then I told girls, no, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that. As soon as we get somebody down, we need to finish. We need to not embarrass teams, but we need to make a statement. And all of the elite programs, around, they're finishers. And whenever their kids get up, they don't give the other team any idea that they can come back and win that set. And so that's kind of the mentality our girls have taken on, is that we're going to finish everything in 2, and we're going to do what we can. Our first goal is to win the conference. Our second goal is to win 20 games, and then our third goal is to advance in the postseason. And I think we're well on our way to accomplishing some of those things this year. It's been really fun.
Along those lines, we were talking before we went on the air that you just had a brutal week. You had as far as number of games, you had a midweek tournament down in North City, and then the Benton tournament on that Saturday.
Yes.
So you played 11 games in like 3 days.
Yeah.
How do you, once the season gets going like that and your schedule is just nonstop, what is practice like? Do you back off and practice? Are your practices light? Are you just kind of backing off as far as just what you put the girls through physically?
Yeah, practice has changed tremendously during the season. I mean, early on we were a full force in the summer, and then the first two and a half weeks before we play, it's just nonstop stuff in practice. But yeah, I mean, you practices are a lot different after you get going, because you have to rest kids. You have certain kids that are tired, their arms are tired, and so you can't do a lot of the things in practice that you did early on. But I let them off yesterday. We've had a brutal stretch. And I used to be pretty hardcore about we don't practice Saturdays at all, and that's kind of how I've changed a little bit over the years, in that I think I'm being more aware of recognizing when kids need a break. You can't just beat them in the ground all the time with practice.
Right.
And so, we give them little incentives, like you play well here, then I'll let you go an hour, or that kind of stuff. Or you do this, we won't practice on Friday, and so they enjoy that. They enjoy their time off, and it's needed. Like I said before, they need time to rest. Their bodies need time to rest, and. But we are very excited right now, and just every practice, every game is just it's just enthusiasm that I've never seen before in Carmi for volleyball, and it's been really, really fun.
You mentioned some of those programs that are around the area. One right down the road, NCOE. You guys were right there with them in the championship last week, but also Fairfield. You're going to see them here in a couple of weeks, and I really think you guys. If you look at the grand scheme of Southern Illinois, you guys are right there with them. But as far as everybody else in the area and what you guys have the rest of the season, how are things looking?
Well, we talk. I mean, we talk a lot in practice, because to me, volleyball is a mental game. And the girls, a lot of times you're dealing with teenage girls, and there's a lot of other factors that go along with their lives and that they can carry into the volleyball floor. And so we talk a lot about being mentally prepared for things, and just changing a mindset that whenever we walk on the floor, we think we're the better team. It doesn't matter who we're playing. And I told them that's not cocky, that's not whatever, that's confidence. And we feel like that if we play our game, that we can compete with anybody in Southern Illinois this year. And so, but Fairfield's a load. We've got them a week from Tuesday at home, and it'd be awesome to see a great crowd, community support continued for that game. And then, we've got, I think we got Christopher Monday, El Dorado Tuesday, and then we're off for a week to prepare for the Fairfield match. And if you come out and watch, because they've got one of the best players in Southern Illinois, in Emerson Robbins, and she's given us fits for 4 years now. And but we feel like we can beat them. We feel like that we are as good, if not better, than they are. And you mentioned that game against North City. I mean, what a battle. We're two very evenly matched teams, and could have gone either way. It was 15-13 in the third set, and they have a tremendous program down there. But I told our girls the time is over where people just walk all over Carmi White County volleyball or just think that, that's an easy victory on the schedule or, that kind of stuff. We're changing an attitude, changing a mindset, and it's really paying off.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just hats off to you. Hats off to the kids. It's basically like you said, you sense a change. Volleyball at one time was just, it passed the time in the fall till you got to girls basketball. To be honest, now, you're building a force to be reckoned with, and credit the girls, credit the talent you have, but you've done a great job as well. So hats off to you and your team, and, we're definitely looking forward to I think a lot of people around here will be looking forward to that Fairfield match. I know you can't overlook anyone you have before then, but
not.
a lot of volleyball fans have that circled on their calendars. But I think just tremendous kudos to you and your girls for what you're doing and the season you're having, and we just hope the train keeps rolling for you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. I've always said, talent can make a coach look really, really good, and I think I can go pick someone off the street that doesn't know anything about volleyball and coach these girls to the side. I mean, they're just unbelievable, and we thank you guys for doing the live streams of the games, and it's just brought a ton of interest into our sport, and hopefully we can continue with that. And it's been an exciting ride so far, and we're ready to keep it rolling. So.
Well, Coach, thanks for stopping by. It's been fun to watch you guys so far this year, and can't wait to see what you guys do the rest of the year. Before you go, from Steeler fan to Steeler fan, I got to ask you, are you a Kenny Pickett believer, or maybe not so much?
He's got to have some time to develop. I mean, he's got the tools, but he just doesn't see the field really well right now, I don't think. And so we've got all of the weapons that we need, but it's going to take him some time. So I think eventually he's going to get there, but it may take some lumps, before he gets to that point. So
that Niner defense is pretty good, huh,
fellas?
All right.
Yeah. Again, Coach, thanks for stopping by. It was fun talking to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys play the rest of the year.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
We'll take a break right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY. AM 1460, Cole Carter and Chris Myers with you. Big thanks to Haley Winkleman across the hallway getting us on the air. And a big thanks to Chris Lucas, the CWC Volleyball coach, stopping by and talking about what a fantastic season they are having. And he said it, we said it, Chris. If you haven't had the chance to watch the Lady Bulldogs either on the WRUL stream or in person, I recommend going in person. They are fun to watch this year.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see that for the community, to go along with what football's doing. Two great fall sports teams. But, yeah, if you're a volleyball fan, you definitely want to go check out that team because they are doing some great things this year.
Like Chris said, they will play. Their next home match, I believe, is against Fairfield, which will be a week from this coming Tuesday. So a chance to watch two of the best teams in Southern Illinois battle at it. So we'll wrap up today's show with our Terrible 10 segment. And believe it or not, Chris, I took you down last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I went 6-4. You went 4-6. But most importantly, we'll talk about the elephant in the room. Your Niners did beat my Steelers.
I'm sorry, Cole. I tried to tell you. I said, I was going to say don't go, but you went.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
No,
that was a long drive home.
How was it out there?
It was a great trip.
Yeah.
I love going to Pittsburgh. It was a great trip. I was telling my fiance Whitney late at night driving through Cincinnati, driving past the Bengals stadium, knowing they lost big, made me feel a little bit better about it.
Yes, there's some consolation there.
All right, so we'll do our terrible 10 picks for this week. 10 college football games and 10 NFL games, week 2 of the NFL and week 3 of college football. Starting with the collegiate games, the backyard brawl, Pitt at West Virginia. The Mountaineers are 2.5-point favorites. Chris, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I just think early in the year it's still hard to tell, but I like Pittsburgh in that one.
Pitt had a tough loss against Cincinnati last week, but I'm going to say they're going to bounce back here.
Yeah.
That's a big rivalry game there in the Pitt and West Virginia. I will go with the Panthers as well. Minnesota at number 20, North Carolina. The Tar Heels are 7-point favorites. I will go with UNC at home.
I will do the same. They didn't, and once again, 2 years in a row, Appalachian State about upset them. As a year ago, they played to couple 3 overtimes, and then this year, same thing. So, North Carolina survived, but I think, since they survived, it was a wake-up call to them. I think they'll get the win at home.
Number 11, Tennessee. They are 3.5-point favorites at Florida. Kind of surprised the spread is that close. Tennessee, they got a big win last week. I will go with the Volunteers here on the road. Tough place to play, but I will go with Tennessee.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember Tennessee. It was just Austin Peay they played though, right? Didn't
but
click on all cylinders.
They won big. When I say big one, they won big.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna take the Gators at home here.
Okay.
I just got a feeling that they're going to bounce back. The Gators had Utah to start the year.
Yeah.
Utah was ranked in the top 10, top 15, and they played them fairly solid for 4 quarters. So I'm going to go with Florida at home.
Next game is Syracuse at Purdue. Syracuse is a 2-point favorite. I will go with the Boilermakers here.
I'm going to go with the Orangemen.
Okay.
They'll come out of the dome ready to play.
You pick Syracuse. Final college game, Fresno State at Arizona State. Fresno State favored by 3 points.
The Fresno State Bulldogs. Years ago, they had the motto, anyone, any place, any time.
Okay.
I'm sticking with that.
I'm going to go with the home team, Arizona State. So there's our 5 college games. Now on to the NFL. We've got the Ravens traveling to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to bounce back here. As much as I hate to say it, let me go Cincinnati.
Boy, I tell you, yeah, that wasn't pretty for the way they opened the season, but they'll be at home. Burrow will bounce back. I'll give the nod to the Bengals, too, in that one.
The Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. The 1-0 Detroit Lions who upset Kansas City in Week 1. Who do you have in this one, Chris?
I'm going to go with the Lions. I love their head coach, Dan Campbell. The energy he brings. He was a former player, and he just brings the energy of a player to the sidelines. I think this is the year the Lions finally just get out of the doldrums. However many centuries they've been in the doldrums, and maybe they get the playoffs this year.
We'll fly through the next ones. I'll go with Detroit as well. Chiefs at Jaguars. Give me the Chiefs bouncing back in that one.
I do. Yeah.
Next one. Jets at the Cowboys. The Aaron Rodgers-less Jets in Dallas. I got to go Cowboys here.
I hate to say it, but yeah, Cowboys. Yeah.
And then Sunday night, the Dolphins at the Patriots. Both teams look pretty good, but I'm going to take Miami here.
I'm going to do the same. That was an impressive win that they had against San Diego. San Diego is going to be a really good team this year, so I'm going to take
Los Angeles.
I keep saying
I
that,
know,
don't
right?
I? I can't quit.
Yeah.
All right. Los Angeles, whatever they are.
All right, well, there's our Terrible 10 Pick'ems for today, and that's about going to wrap things up for us this morning. Again, a big thanks to Chris Lucas stopping by, and best of luck to him and the Lady Bulldogs the rest of the year. We will be back on the air next Saturday, but then next Friday, the Bulldogs will take on the Fairfield Mules for Week 5 in the Black Diamond Conference and Rivalry Week. So big thanks to Haley Winkleman across the hall getting us on the air. For Chris Myers, I'm Cole Carter. Have a great week.